Over to Lalit Shastri.
Shashidarji, Preetiji, and everybody from Bhopal International Center, those who have formed it. It's a fantastic initiative, and I'm delighted to be here in this august company. Let me come to brass tacks. Just now, Shashidarji said he's also into documentary making. Did I take some training? A lot of things come on the job, and I had the opportunity to work with a great documentary maker. I would like to pay tributes to him. He is now no more. He was the chief CNN correspondent, Gary Stryker, and we had a chance to meet, and where he said, let's work together. And the first project that we did was the last of the Ghadiyan of the Chambal, in the Chambal River. I did the research, I did the shooting of the video, I did the script, and he edited it and gave his voice commentary to it. And the documentary was there. He had an organization called Assignment Earth, so this was done for that. And based on that, I did a story in the Hindu in 2006. So the day the story appeared, there was a hearing in Supreme Court on illegal sand mining in Chambal. And this story figured, it was suo motu taken cognizance of, and the empowered committee appointed by the Supreme Court, they gave a notice to the state government, and they said they would like an explanation why, despite the ban, this is continuing. Because this was a global hotspot when it comes to the endangered, the Chambal Ghadiyan, the highly endangered crocodilian species. And the ban continues till this day. Illegal sand mining goes on, but on a very low key compared to what it was happening then. Coming to environment journalism and how I got into it, I would like to especially address the young generation. I can see it on your faces that you want to enter the realm of journalism. Am I right? Okay. I was also in my initial days in journalism, and we had started encountering in Madhya Pradesh a lot of water crisis. The water table was going down in mid-80s onwards, and I got into the Hindu in 91, and I took it up as a task that I would like to study why the water table is going down. And the moment it was not a one-day job, one had to study it, so I told my editor that for next 15 days I will not be reporting as a state correspondent, and I will be going into the interiors, I will be studying everything, and I will do one story on this. So he understood the gravity and the importance of it. So from Bhopal, it was like a horseshoe journey from here to Mandla, Balaghat, Chindwara, Satpura area, Tamia, and back to Bhopal. This was a huge education process for me, and I became a student of environment then, and I continue to remain a student of environment now. And each day has been an education process. So when I came back with a lot of conclusions on the basis of what I had gathered, talking to the villagers, talking to the foresters in the area, the collectors in all the districts, and the paraphernalia, the entire official dump. So what I gathered was our forests are greatly threatened by illegal logging, forest fires, natural as well as man-made, minor forest produce collection. There's been a lot of hype to minor forest produce collection, sal seed collection, tendu patta collection. There's been a lot of hype. The politicians made it more than economic activity. The wages were hiked to attract people to enter into this for an extra buck to make their life sustainable economically. What I gathered is what I want to share. Sal seed collection. Let's come to sal seed. You have the sal forests in the we call it the Central Indian Highlands, the Satpuras and the Vindhya ranges. So when it is time for the fruit to ripe and fall, if you go to the forest, you'll find it's a mossy, grassy surface, and if the seeds fall, it would be very difficult to pick them up. So before the seeds fell, that time of the year, the foresters would set on fire the forest ground, the base. And when there would be ashes there, they would sweep it away, and the forest surface would be neat and clean, so that when the seeds fall, they would just sweep it into bags and have the collection. And you'd also wonder what sal seeds meant for. Where is the demand for sal seed? Sal seed is a very unique kind of seed where the paste of sal seed, it becomes chocolatey, and it melts the moment your body temperature melts it like chocolate. And there's a great demand for sal seed in the confectionery industry. And there's a lot of export from, the export hub is Jabalpur for all the forests on either side. And the sal seeds are, maximum export is to Europe and England. And the big exporters, export houses. So one is, who's making the maximum profit out of it is the big exporters. And there's a small nominal wage which stretches not more than a month or so. During that 1 month, the tribes people, they can make some money. But the main profit is being pocketed by the big export houses. That's one point. Now when this happens, you'll have to understand what is the end result. Because of this cyclical burning of the forest, picking of sal seed. So at the end of the day, you have standing trees and forests. And the forests are no longer large tracts, no longer living forests. So what is a living forest? A living forest is an area where you have grass and mossy surface, chote jhaad ke jungle. You have tall trees, so you have canopies, you have chote jhaad, you have grass, and you have worms burrowing the soil, making it sponge-like, soft. There are insects, there are birds and bees. They all act as pollinators. And when the forest soil is soft, it is capable of retaining the rainwater. It percolates, and it's gradually released through rivulets, streams, and making the rivers perennial. Whereas in this case, with a hard surface, when rain falls, it carries away the topsoil. Now, 1 inch of topsoil, it takes about 1,000 years. So if in one rainy season, you can imagine what goes into the river. And this silt, the topsoil. Now every river, if you can imagine, is something like this. The top of the river and the base of the river. So the silt gets accumulated at the base. So as a result, the carrying capacity of the rivers, it gets reduced. So when the carrying capacity gets reduced and too much of water flowing into the rivers during the monsoon in too short a time, it floods the banks. So you have these recurring floods. Now, the United Nations Secretary General was bringing in focus the challenges to environment. We go back 1997, we have the conference of parties at Kyoto, and we had the Kyoto Protocol, and then we have the United Nations framework for Convention on Climate Change. So if you gradually study how the world has focused its attention to the problem areas and the challenges, so I'm immediately reminded of COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt in 2022, 2 years ago, November. There the focus was adaptability, and agriculture. And the big question everybody addressed was that how the world is going to feed 8 billion people in not too distant the future, in coming years. And then there are huge problems that are glaring at you. You have the Russia-Ukraine war, the situation in Middle East, the amount of missiles and the bombs that are being dropped, all the havoc that is being caused, and then the pressure on fossil fuel, especially linked to agriculture production. And when we talk of agriculture production, we have to pan out, go back in time. Let's get into the time machine, go back in time. And post-independence, India was facing the challenge of food shortage. We had the Green Revolution, and the Green Revolution, mid-60s to mid-70s, that's a period when you had the first phase of the Green Revolution, banking on high-yielding varieties of seeds, and what they need is irrigation and the high-yielding variety which the farmers can afford. So initially it was only in Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra. These were the 3 states which had the resources to support the agriculture revolution. But the second phase, there was a spike, there was a leap. And this second phase, 75 onwards, and that is where the multinationals set their eyes on the potential, the demand, and it was around that time that Union Carbide set its foot in India. An application was moved in 75, 79 they got the license to produce 7 carburetor, and rest is history. We know what Gopal went through. I would not like to go into those details as such, but there are 2 or 3 glaring points. One, what the demand and supply structure can do, not just to communities, not just to nations, but the entire humanity and the globe in the process. Because today, the issue is not what may happen to river Narmada. And I'm really telling you, if we do not mend our ways, if we do not protect our catchment areas, catchment along the river, Narmada will be not a river, it will be just a system of dams. We have built some dams, the dams will be there, the reservoir would be there, and the river system would vanish. I won't say it won't evaporate, it will vanish. And we are going to be responsible for that, because for the remaining part of the year, you will have drawdown agriculture on riverbeds. That's what you will have. And most of the year the rivers will be dry. And while we were having, I was listening to everybody, one point I heard and I felt I should intervene. Journalists going to bureaucrats, officers, meeting secretaries, behaving like dwarfs. So journalists are not dealing only with information. Journalists should also deal with knowledge. You have to be knowledgeable. You are going to meet a principal secretary or a chief secretary. Try to be as knowledgeable as him. And what's stopping you? They have the same opportunity, you have the same opportunity, and be at the same level as a journalist. Don't try to be a smart aleck and don't try to act over smart. With dignity, maintain your level. I remember everybody would say, Maharaj, 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 whenever Madhav Sindhia was in Bhopal as a union minister. And I would always say, I was a very young journalist, I would say, hello Mr. Sindhia, how are you? That's how you should address me. So that self-dignity, journalists should retain, and knowledge. As I said, you have to become a student first. Environment, become a student. I'll give you an example. I was with the Hindu. And it's a knowledgeable, you have to be knowledgeable to be a journalist. So in Hindu we have a tradition, if you have to cover Supreme Court, you have to be a lawyer. If you don't have a law degree, you cannot cover Supreme Court, even a small matchbox-like story. You can't do it. So it's important. And as Deepak ji said, that you have to be in the service of humankind. And that's what Bhagavad Gita says. You ask 3 questions to yourself. Who am I? Why am I on this earth? What is my goal in life? And if you stick to your goal and you do it with commitment, you will enjoy freedom. If you compromise on your goal, why will you compromise on your goal? You discuss a story with the minister will say, "Kahan padh rahe ho in sab pashram," and you leave it. That is, you have left your goal, you have started compromising, and you end up becoming a slave. So whether it is environment or whether it's any other area, but I would like to come closer home, talking of environment and what journalism can do. So I will just cite a few examples. Way back, it was 1996. Diamond giant De Beers was setting foot in undivided Madhya Pradesh, and they wanted to pick up, they were almost, they had picked up an area, they were going to get a mining license near Raipur, and so there were a lot of issues because they were going to threaten environment in a crazy manner. And I did a series of stories, many other journalists also did. I will not take the sole credit, but we did stories raising questions, and the PMO sat straight, and it could not come through, and one was relieved. But I once saw a replay of the same when in the Bandar mining, Rio Tinto was very much there. Here I would say, it was not a dearth of story, there was almost a gap. So I did stories raising I went to the spot, I saw during reconnaissance to mining license, the phase in between, already a lot of destruction of that area had been done. And the terms of reference and what they were promising, there was a huge gap, especially with regard to remedial measures for all the destruction that they would be bringing to environment. They were planning to go as deep as 356 meters, and with trucks going down, you could imagine what the kind of earth they were going to excavate, and they had no plan where they would be placing it. Where would the excavated earth be moved to? And they were also planning to change the course of a river. So all these questions were raised. Again, the matter was referred to the PMO, the file was called, and there was so much of internal discussion between Ministry of Environment and Forest, Climate Change and the PMO, that finally, because of the delay, even Rio Tinto went away. As a journalist, I once went to Madhav National Park. So there I saw, while I was there, I heard dynamite and rocks were being blasted. So I took my vehicle there to check out. So gathered that fiber optics cables were being laid. It was summertime. So I took photographs, and also there were some landmarks. So I fixed those photographs, so one could know where it has been taken. And then I came back and checked whether there has been any permission, whether the rules have been followed. So I gathered from the wildlife wing of the forest department that no permission has been given, and Reliance is doing it. So this was a story with me, an exclusive, and an exclusive story. So I thought I have time, I will discuss more. And suddenly there was a Vidhan Sabha session that kept me busy, and there was monsoon. And post-monsoon I did the story. I got the time and I did a story saying that this is being done illegally, and the Wildlife Act has been flouted in Madhya Pradesh. Immediately, I got a notice from Reliance from a Supreme Court lawyer that will haul you on. And here is the permission. They gave a permission. The letter was there, dated. Now,
letter was signed,
now,
backdate.
Now, no. So if I had eaten this story out of someone's hands, I wouldn't have had a defense with me. But since I had been there, since I had photographs, everything, this was a post-monsoon permission. So the landscape was not post-monsoon. I had a summer landscape in my picture. And I published that, and I said, they are bungling. This is, after they had done the work, they got the permission. And Supreme Court took so moto cognizance of it, gave a notice to Reliance, there was a hearing, and then the order clearly says, this has not, the act has been flouted, but they say that the permission has been given in larger public interest. Work has already been done, but we fine you 2 crore rupees. So 2 crore rupees fine on Reliance and this. So journalism is, you have to be sure of what you're writing. If you pick something from somebody, that person will not come to your defense if you are getting knocked out. And I can just go on and on, but I wanted to say that be grounded, be committed, know your facts, and don't go beyond your facts, is my message, and work hard for the young generation of journalists.
Yeah, thank you, Lalit. So I think water bodies, and now Bhopal is very interestingly, since the times of the Begums, they had different kind of, even Raja Boj, the kind of water bodies that we created on that. And a lot of things are dependent on that and the entire thing. I think I'll request Dr. Nandi to focus on something on water. Because that's another critical element for our survival and one of the most critical element of the environment.